Good morning, everybody. We've probably gone about a half mile from the Ensign Cowall shelter, and we're still heading southbound. We still have probably about 8 miles from here to get to the Route 40 trailhead parking lot. When we get there, that'll complete Maryland for me. So I think it's a little over 41 miles. So let's get headed up the trail. It is very windy today. Yeah, we're still in the uphill. Got some cruisy trail right through here. So while the trail is nice, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what's weighing on me. So in hiking to Ensign Cowall, about halfway through the day, I continued with some knee pain. The further I got, the more I was struggling. So, with that being said, I've done a lot of, thinking, coming up with possible scenarios and things that I possibly could do. But first and foremost, I just know there's no way I can head back to Georgia, and then not at this time, and within days, weeks, have to turn around, come home, possibly injure myself even worse, even though I've had everything looked at. Prior to starting the Appalachian Trail in February, I probably hiked over 900 miles since last year, and I had many days, where my knees weren't the best, and I'd say after August, from August on, summer of 25, had zero problems with my knees and thought I had overcome everything, strengthened everything. And, so I was pretty confident with the way things were going. Never even a thought on my mind heading down to Georgia in February. But I do know, and I'm not sure this is 100% to blame, but I was on some medicine about a week and a half. Well, I actually stopped the medicine 5 days prior to coming to Springer. And, in reading up on that, I see that it can cause joint issues, and there can be some lingering effects. And it takes a while, not only it can actually cause some permanent effects, but anyway, it can cause joint problems, and it can take a few months for those, if they're going to work themselves out, to, that it's going to happen, So I'm not going to stop hiking. I love to hike. I love to be outside in nature. And so I come up with a few scenarios, and kind of like short-term and a long-term goal. I'm in the process of rehabbing my knee, trying to strengthen my lower body to take more pressure off my knees, and hopefully that's going to keep getting better. But my short-term goal is, instead of heading back to Georgia, which, like I said, I don't know that there's no sense in that, because I could possibly have to turn around and come right back home. So since I'm close to Pennsylvania, I live in Pennsylvania, so since I'm close to the Appalachian Trail, and I'm going to have Maryland done today, I'm just going to head north. And my short-term goal is, finish Pennsylvania. How long that will take me, I don't know. if things go great, you know, I'm going to continue north. As far as I can go, I'm going to listen to my body, take off when I need to. But hopefully, over the next month, things just continue to get better and better with my knees. If they do, my long-term goal is possibly to go as far north as I can. You never know. It could turn into a flip-flop. I just can't tell you. I just know that I'm not stopping. I'm going to continue to video and document my hikes, and I hope you all continue to watch and wish me luck. It's not the hike I wanted to do, but sometimes you just don't have any choice in the matter, and I'm okay with that. I've come to grips with that. There's a lot. We don't always get to do what we want to do in life, but you can do as much as you can do in life and still enjoy yourself. So it's not the end of the world, but I would appreciate it if everybody just continued to watch. Wish me luck, pray for me, and we'll see you up the trail here. So I thought I'd give an explanation why I didn't have a closing in the last video. When I came down into the Ensign Cowall shelter, there was probably like, I guess 4 or 5 guys there. I had to put my buff on because my ears were getting cold with that wind. It's howling over that ridge line right there. So it's not over here, it's not as bad here. So when I got to the shelter, like I said, there was 4 or 5 guys there, and they were banging, making all kind of noise, cutting firewood. That shelter's like 2 tents from a parking lot, so day hikers come up here. I didn't see a hiker all day, that, you know, from Penmar to the Ensign Cowall. Never saw a hiker. And get there, and there's a bunch of people. And not only that, then 2 more guys were coming up the trailhead from the parking lot. So I just didn't get to do a closeout there. So it looks like we're heading back up on this ridge line. We're over it, and I'm going to have to deal with this wind again. I'm sure you can hear it. Just a cool section of the trail here in Maryland. Like I said, I've never been on this part, but there is absolutely nobody on it today either. And this upper section, I'm going to say from Penmar down to where the Annapolis Rock section, really doesn't get a lot of people. It's from Annapolis Rock and all the way down Harper's Ferry. That lower 2/3 really gets hammered with day hikers, and I know down here where my Jeep is waiting for me at the Route 40 trailhead. I'll show you when I get there. There's probably going to be, well, it depends on what time I get there, but there's always anywhere from 40 to 100 plus vehicles. It's crazy. And you'll see that when I get down there. I guarantee you there's that many. But this section is really nice. It's rocky in spots. A lot of boulders in spots too. Haven't been able to film all that, but it's still nice. Cruisy for the most part. It's just so darn windy today. And the trail's so nice today. You ever have those days when you're just, for those of you who hike a lot, you get engrossed in it all. It's just, you can't explain it. You just have to be in the moment. For those of you that don't hike much, you just got to get out here. Spend some time in nature. I think well, I'm heading downhill right now, but I think I got one more climb up on that ridge. It's be my last climb for the day. And then from there, it's pretty much level across the ridge again before heading downhill. Of course, before you go up, you always go down. So, I actually think, this is it. We're almost to Pogo campsite. I can see the privy up there. Yeah. It's right in this little valley here. But yeah, it's just a campsite. There's no shelter. Alright, I'd like to see whoever put this rock here, because that took some muscle. Yep, Pogo campsites. Not sure how many sites they have up there. Let's say it's a dozen or more. It just kind of sits up on the side of this ridge and kind of goes out across this way, and there's another blue blaze that comes down to the trail up here. And now we're going uphill. If you can see way out there, that's the town of Hagerstown. Way out there. Nice view. There's one more view. Sorry for moving too fast. Let's zoom that back out. There's one more view. Probably about a mile down Annapolis Rock. I'm not going to walk down to it. It's like 3/10 off the trail, but if you want to see what that view looks like, I do have one short video. Go to my short and you'll see what that looks like. So Annapolis Rocks is down this path. That's the other overlook I was telling you about. And there's no shelter area here, but there is more campsites. And so if anybody's coming up this way and wants to stay near where the overlook is, you just go down this blue blaze. So I think it's like 0.3 though, 0.25 or 0.3 down the trail. So I apologize for this video is probably going to be a little longer than any 8.5 mile hike should be, but got a great story to say or tell. So I was hiking through this section last Memorial Weekend 2025, and you know how as through hikers, well, as people like myself, all of us out there who do hike, we watch a lot of through hikers, and you know, probably over the last decade or so, I've always settled into watching, you know, half a dozen or more guys or women or families that just kind of, you know, I kind of get involved in their videos. Well, coming through this exact section that weekend, Memorial Weekend, I looked up and I recognized the gentleman walking towards me. I saw his hat, then I saw his beard, and somewhere right about in here, I yelled, "Hey Tom!" And he looked up, and sure enough, it was him. And so he's the only through hiker that I've actually ever met on the trail. I think it was about right in here somewhere. And we stood and talked for probably a good 30 minutes, getting to know each other a little bit. All right, I just had to stop for a second, ran into some hikers. But whenever I should say, when I first saw him, and I said, "Hey Tom," first thing he did was look up and he says, "How did you find me?" And, so I had to laugh, but he, I can't remember what I said to him after that. But like I said, we stood there and talked probably 30 minutes or so. And then he had another gentleman with him, Grayson. So I got to meet Grayson too. But we talked for a good while and exchanged phone numbers. I'll see if I can find. I have a picture of us when we met. I took a picture of us, selfie, and he actually did like an interview with me too for his YouTube channel. And so if you want to find Tom, Trail Name Creek, you can look for Tom's Trek. And yeah, he's became a good friend to me since that time. We exchanged numbers, we kept in touch, and you know, I didn't want to bother him too much during his hike, but he was more than willing to reply to me, answer me, and keep me updated of his through hike along the way. And his videos were, probably 3 weeks or more behind his actual location. But I'll never forget the day I was sitting home drinking coffee and in October, and I got a text message and opened up, and it was Tom summiting Mount Katahdin. Man, it was just, man, I was so happy for him. That was great. I still have that photo too. Maybe I'll attach that one too. I'm sure Tom wouldn't mind, but what a great guy, you know. And since that time, he's stayed in touch with me. He's called me a handful of times, and he's been a big help. He sent me some equipment, some minor things that come in handy. He sent me just a box full of stuff. I couldn't believe he shipped it all to me, but just a great guy, and consider him a friend. And so Tom, if you're watching, thanks buddy. I appreciate everything you've done for me. All right, so that finishes up 8.5 miles today. Appalachian Trail comes across right here, and we're gonna head to the parking lot. Check this thing out. Yeah, the parking lot, not too bad today. Can't see over the hill, but if I had to guess, there's probably 30, or at least 30 or so vehicles here today. I know when I did the section coming up from Harvest Ferry, when I came out that day, there was probably well over 100 cars. It was crazy. So that's my Maryland section complete. I'll probably, like I said, I'm going to rehab this week. And on the weekend, next weekend, I got family stuff to do. And so probably a week from now, I'm going to hit back on the Pennsylvania section, starting at Penmar. And so I hope you follow along. Probably once I get, 2-3 days in, here's my Jeep. Once I get 2-3 days in, and see how I'm feeling, then I'll probably put out some more video content. So I appreciate you following along, and hope to see you soon. Thanks.